And so, Roshi, you've had many, many years of all kinds of different explorations.
You say all kinds?
All kinds of different explorations. What have you learned from your own experience about the right pathway for you at a given time that heals or helps you understand what your path is? And then how do you also navigate students, helping them decide what they need at a particular time, what doorway or path suits them? And you've had many years of all kinds of different experiences and also traditions and teachers. So what might you share with us that seems relevant?
Well, I think what is interesting today is to see the reemergence of the use of entheogens or hallucinogens in the therapy of individuals who are suffering, just as Michael's describing. And I have to say, reading Michael's book was like a sort of ride down memory lane. It's like, oh my God. But anyway, I was very charmed because Michael didn't turn on until he was 60. And I thought, wow, that is so sweet at last. You know? I mean,
I'm a late bloomer.
well, but at least you did, for which we are all grateful because your book and Dacker's work is really pushing the way forward of something that's extraordinarily important. Yeah, obviously, I'm an old Buddhist among many other old things. And part of that claim is that many of us in the 60s and early 70s actually came to Buddhism through the door of hallucinogens.
Wow.
Now, I actually came to Buddhism through Thich Nhat Hanh in the mid-1960s, but let me tell you, that didn't stop me from taking hallucinogens at all. As a matter of fact, I had a 30-year romance with altered states of consciousness and hallucinogens, and then finally realized that that was enough. It was a long phase, as they say, a very long phase. And I also got a very clear picture that how much hubris I was experiencing when I said to my ex-husband, when we were not ex, I married Stanislav Grof, who's a psychiatrist who worked in the the Maryland Psychiatric Research Center using hallucinogens. Our work together with people who were dying of cancer. This was in the early 70s. And I just realized how important it is for us to, one, recognize the value of these altered states of consciousness, but also the social and cultural conditions that can produce altered states or a transformation in consciousness that are not necessarily associated with substances, either manufactured in Sasha's laboratory or picked out of the Sonoran Desert or snatched up on a pile of poo somewhere in Hawaii. So,
we'll explain later.
But I will say that I think that it's very ambitious, and I made the mistake when I was a young person and married to Stan. I said to him, this is ridiculous in retrospect, I want to know everything about the human mind. And then I proceeded to take 600 micrograms of LSD every week for years. So, I tell you. And it was a very trying experience, to be perfectly frank. I would not prescribe it to the biggest fool, so nonetheless. But what it did was, and I think Huxley describes it beautifully in the title of his book, Doors of Perception, that it created such a massive entropy in my mental continuum that actually I had to use meditation as a way to pull myself together again. And I'm very grateful. I mean, it was not a very easy experience either in going through the deconstruction of the ego and opening up to the vastness of perception, including things that were very threatening, not just at the ego level, but also just in terms of, very negative visions of the world in addition to the positive visions of the world and the cosmos, something out of Ursula Le Guin gone bad, if you will. And so, you know, it's one of these things where I and Allen Ginsberg and my whole generation, not all of us, but we benefited from these experiences. But most of us ended up not wanting to decorate our mental continuum anymore. We actually began to understand the value of clear seeing in our everyday world, but not just clear seeing, because clarity is, you know, one thing, but also awe without compassion is not enough, if you know what I'm saying. So.